Welcome back. I am Emma with AQUA Real Estate. We continue with the second part of our training, Form 22A. Financing Addendum. In this lesson, we will cover these two topics. We start with the second paragraph of 22A. Then finish up with our second topic, loan cost provisions. Paragraph 2 gives you two choices to choose from. Option A is the seller's notice to perform. And option B is the automatic waiver of financing contingency. Before we discuss the details, we need to understand the purpose of the clause. Let's use an example scenario in the point of view of a listing agent to better understand. Let's say you have a transaction with a long closing time. The deal is 3 weeks into the contract and you have been desperately trying to get a hold of the buyer's agent who just is not getting back to you. You contact the lender to get an update because you have a gut feeling things are going south. You are wanting to get information on the loan status. But the lender says they are still waiting on documents from the buyer. Things are not looking good. Your sellers are panicked as they just don't want to keep waiting around for the buyer as they lost all trust. This clause could be used as a tool to help your seller try to escape the deal with the buyer to put the house back on the market or sell to another buyer willing to put in a backup offer. As you can see, paragraph 2 is for the seller's protection. Please note that the clause does not automatically cancel the deal. It only gives the seller the opportunity to cancel the deal if they wish. Now we understand when the clause could be used. Let's start by taking a look at the form to see how it works. Option A is the choice a buyer agent typically uses because it aligns with their buyer's interest the most. It happens to also be the default choice in case you were to forget to fill in this section. Option A will require the listing agent to send a formal notice, Form 22AR, notifying the buyer's agent that the seller is activating paragraph 2. Whereas option B, the seller does not have to give notice because it is an automatic waiver. When choosing option A, the seller must wait before they have the option of delivering the notice to perform. The default time is 21 days, however, when you are filling out the form you can shorten or lengthen the time based on the situation. The seller may give the notice to perform at any time after the timeframe has passed. If the listing agent does deliver Form 22AR, the buyer will have 3 days to decide whether or not to waive the financing contingency. If the buyer does not waive the financing contingency within the 3-day period, then the seller could terminate the agreement anytime by delivering a second notice. Please note that the buyer's ability to waive the financing contingency is not limited to the 3-day time period. The buyer can waive financing at any time before the seller terminates the agreement. In case you were wondering, why would the buyer ever want to waive their financing contingency? The buyer may be confident their loan will close on time and they don't want to risk losing the house should the seller wish to terminate the deal. Moving on to option B. Just like in option A, the default amount of days is 21 and can be adjusted based on the situation. Option B operates more like a traditional contingency. The buyers have a specified amount of days to get the loan approved or denied. If the deadline passes, then the financing contingency is waived. There is not any requirement for the seller to provide a notice. If this option is chosen, then it is imperative that the agent, buyer, and lender are diligent in getting the loan processed and receive underwriting approval. If the buyer's loan fails, the buyer agent must provide the listing agent a loan denial letter from the lender along with NWMLS Form 90I before the automatic waiver deadline. This is the only option for the buyer to terminate the contract and recover their earnest money. Again, should you use option B, this must be provided before the contingency deadline. Whether you choose A or B, both options retain the protection of the appraisal provision. You will always want to check the box, will not, which is also the default choice, so that the buyer retains protection in case of a low appraisal, regardless if the financing contingency is waived. Let's finish up with the last topic today, Loan cost provisions. A buyer's down payment isn't the only thing a buyer needs to bring to the table when you buy a home. Closing costs are expenses the buyer pays to a lender in exchange for loan services. When writing the offer, a buyer's agent can request a seller to contribute to the buyer's closing costs from the seller proceeds in their offer. Buyer closing costs are defined as a contribution to the buyer's loan or settlement costs, including, but not limited to prepaids, interest rate buy down, loan fee, appraisal, title and escrow fees, or other costs allowed by their lender. If you are requesting that the seller contribute to the buyer's closing costs, input the amount here. They can be identified as either a dollar amount, such as $8,000, or as a percentage, like 2.5%. To learn more about closing costs, please check out our closing costs training inside AQUA University.
That's it for today. Be sure to check out our other great training videos inside AQUA University. Hey there, are you watching our training videos but not yet an AQUA agent? We would love to have you. Our 100% commission model, world-class training systems, technology, and marketing make AQUA the coolest and fastest growing brokerage in the Northwest. Go to our website, getaqua.com/careers to learn more. Join the club.